Hey guys, and welcome to the latest video from Formula Pulse. It is finally official. After months of speculation and rumour, we finally have confirmation that George Russell will be in a Mercedes next year alongside Lewis Hamilton. And in today's video, I'm going to take a look at 5 times George Russell impressed and showed everybody his world-class potential. Yes, including that absolutely mega lap in qualifying at Spa, and ultimately what made it impossible for Mercedes not to pick him for 2022 over Valtteri Bottas. Number 5, winning the GP3 and F2 championships. Russell's junior career really lit up when he won the GP3 title in 2017, and he went straight up to Formula 2 the year after that. He also won that championship at the first time of asking, putting him in an elite club of drivers to do so. Only Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, Nico Hülkenberg and Charles Leclerc have won that title at the first attempt since 2005. Not only did he win the championship, but he won it comfortably, finishing 68 points ahead of Lando Norris in a strong field that also included Alex Albon and Nick de Vries. For winning those championships back to back and giving Williams a PowerPoint presentation, Russell signed up with the team for the 2019 Formula 1 season. Number 4, Williams 2019 and 2020. Fair to say that the Williams was pretty abysmal in 2019, but like all great drivers, Russell still managed to grab headlines and impress even when driving at the back of the pack. Though his teammate Robert Kubica wasn't the same as he was before his rally accident, he was still an experienced hand at Formula 1, and Russell outqualified him at every race, often convincingly. Williams that year rarely made it off the back row of the grid, but Russell was still able to shine. In Hungary, for example, he managed to outqualify both Racing Point's and Daniel Ricciardo's Renault and ended up finishing 16th place in the race. Doesn't sound like much, but in that car it was one of the standout performances of the season. The 2020 Williams was marginally better, and Russell again outqualified his Williams teammate Nicholas Latifi at every race and made Q2 on several occasions. It's a testament to Russell that he still made headlines despite of his less than ideal machinery. What would have impressed Mercedes most, I'm sure, in these years was Russell's attitude behind the scenes. He was often seen to be a driving force behind the Williams recovery, always staying positive and always pushing on for the future. For Russell, it was important in those years to prove that he was ready if an opportunity came up, which of course it did. Number 3, the Sakir Grand Prix 2020. As far as intense job interviews go, this one is right up there. With Lewis Hamilton sidelined with COVID-19, Russell had the chance to step in and go up against his main rival for the second Mercedes seat, Valtteri Bottas. Remember, this was his first time in the car, and on Saturday he put the car second on the grid, missing out by just 3/100ths of a second. He made up for that in the race by taking the lead into turn 1 and comfortably leading early on. Mercedes then had an absolute nightmare in his late pit stop, mixing up his tyres, and he dropped back to 5th place. He quickly made his way back up to 2nd, including a pass of the season candidate on Bottas around the outside into the chicane before the back straight. Then a puncher struck while he chased down the leader Sergio Perez, and he ended up the race in 9th. He did claim a fastest lap, and he got one over on Bottas with that pass, and he made it clear to Mercedes that he'd be more than comfortable in their car should they choose him for the future. At that time they didn't, and they stuck with Bottas for 2021. But what he did show that weekend was that he could be on Bottas's pace and quickly, having not spent that much time in the car. I think they would have been impressed with how he dealt with the setback of not getting the win when everything went wrong. Number 2, Summer 2021. Aside from his collision with Bottas in Imola, it's been a really impressive season for Russell. In the run of races between the French Grand Prix and the Hungarian Grand Prix, he consistently put the Williams where it had no business being. Paul Ricard, he arguably had his best race ever for Williams, finishing 12th on pace in a race where no other cars retired, including beating Esteban Ocon and Charles Leclerc on merit. He kept up his momentum by making Q3 at the Red Bull Ring and in Silverstone with some vintage Mr. Saturday performances. These looked even more impressive with teammate Latifi only 18th in both of those races. And then finally, after 3 years, he scored his first points for Williams at the Hungarian Grand Prix in that chaotic race. Although not his most impressive race of the season, it still brought him to tears in the media pen to finally score points, a show of passion and emotion that I'm sure wouldn't have gone unnoticed at Mercedes. Number 1, Spa 2021. Could Russell have picked a better moment to announce himself at Mercedes than this? He had been on fire all through qualifying in Spa and then saved the best for last, putting the Williams on the front row of the grid in truly abysmal weather conditions. Seriously, if you haven't seen the lap, go and watch it. It is incredible. Only Max Verstappen ahead of him on the grid, he'd sufficiently outqualified both Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, and if Mercedes hadn't already made up their mind, surely that lap would have done the trick. The only real shame from that weekend is we didn't get to see what Russell could do from his second place on the grid. Although he did get to stand on the podium, it would have been fascinating to see if he could have lived with Hamilton and Verstappen in the wet conditions in the race. What can we expect for Russell now he's going to have to go up against Lewis Hamilton in 2022? Well, we know that he's had to wait patiently for his chance, grinding away at Williams while his younger rivals got their chance in competitive cars, and now he has to put his money where his mouth is and take the fight to Lewis Hamilton. I can't wait to see 1. How Russell performs with the pressure on his shoulders, and 2. How Lewis Hamilton is going to cope with a young, hungry teammate who can push him all the way. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? It'd be absolutely fascinating and one of the key stories of the 2022 season. It could all end in tears if the two don't get along or Russell really does start to push Hamilton hard. For all, we know that Lewis Hamilton preferred for Valtteri Bottas to stay on in place of Russell. But what's clear is that Russell's hard work at Williams has paid off and it hasn't gone unnoticed, and nobody can say he doesn't deserve to take that second seat at Mercedes, and we won't have too long to find out how it's all going to play out. Thank you for watching, and let me know how you think Russell's going to get on in 2022 in the comments. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. As a new channel, we really do appreciate any support.